Have you ever wondered what happened to the legendary Chuck Norris? I recently saw a video he made and I was shocked. He's in his 80s and still kicking butt and working out and staying active. He did this by just making one change. Chuck says he still feels like he's in his 50s. His wife even started doing this one thing too, and she's never felt better. She says she feels 10 years younger, her body looks leaner, and she has energy all day. Chuck made a special video that explains everything. Make sure you watch it by going to chuckdefense.com/inspired or by clicking on a link below this video. It'll change the way you think about your health. Once again, that's chuckdefense.com/inspired or click on a link in the description below to watch the video now. If the legendary Chuck Norris can do this at 81 years old, so can you. Watch his method by clicking on the link in the description box below. chuckdefense.com/inspired.
The obvious next step would be to take what is human and implant that into a machine. At first, we're going to have, say, a machine implanted into us, but I think at one point, our brain will be implanted into a machine once we reach, say, a certain age as an individual being, right? We'll be discarding a lot of biology, and we will probably even become less of ourselves as a result, because you're not just one life form, you're a cooperative instance of biology made out of bacteria and various other cells that are independently alive. You just cooperate, much like a machine is made up of many different parts, so are you, and these individual parts are themselves, in fact, alive.
Hey, Inspired Tribe, my fellow freedom lovers. It's John Nolan here. Thank you so much for tuning in to another Inspired live stream. It is Monday, February 12th, 2024. We're healthy, we're wealthy, we're whole, we're free. And as I said, we might be winning. I'm gonna put this in parentheses for now and just keep on keeping on until we get there. So sometimes I need to wait a little, like for a couple of days before talking about something that I know is important to talk about, just like with this thing here that happened on Friday. I didn't want to jump on it. Christine and I saw it, and we discussed it for a couple of days, walked with it, and just I think we can break this down into the most important elements. What I'm talking about is a small, very small feud that happened over tweets or posts on X over a couple of days and weeks, where David Icke was calling out certain individuals in the alternative media space for eulogizing Elon Musk and whatnot, when in his, and in our perception, Elon is not someone to be eulogized. And then David Icke joined Alex Jones on Infowars for a whole show to discuss it all, and something very strange, something very weird happened. I still can't wrap my mind around the whys and the hows. Well, I can certainly, but it's just juvenile and stupid. So they discussed the AI agenda, and that's what we want to talk about today, and what we're going to continue to talk about, because, and here's the buried lead here. The AI agenda is not about optimizing smartphones, is not about just making processes easier and automated. The ultimate AI agenda, and this is what needs to be clear from the get-go, is to connect us with AI, integrate, full integration. And that's the buried lead. I'm going to take it away from the start here. If that happens, it's game over for Team Humanity. Game over. It's not, let's see how this works out, let's see what it does. It's game over. Everything that we do and have been doing until this point will be erased, pretty much. Will not have mattered if that happens. Okay? So on this show, it began with David Icke and Alex Jones discussing, and so I'm going to show you a little bit about how David Icke entered the show and what he said was most important.
AI agenda. You've got people, your Bill Gateses and your Klaus Schwabs, and what they're doing is going hard sell. Hard sell AI, connecting AI to the human brain and human genetics. That's what needs to happen. But of course, there's a vast number of what I call pushbackers in the United States, in Europe, in the world in general, that don't want that. So along comes Elon Musk, And Elon Musk does the soft sell. He is saying, oh, I'm worried about AI. Oh, God, it's very terrible. Could be the end of humanity. And then continues to push the AI agenda. But it's not too bad. It can't be as bad because Elon's doing it and he owns Twitter and he's letting people back on Twitter. What I'm saying is, look at the outcome. What is the outcome of the hard sell? What is the outcome of the soft sell? At the end of those roads is the same thing. Humans connected to artificial intelligence.
So this is a very, very important thing. This is something that I think in all the noise that we have currently going on in the world, it is sometimes very hard to distinguish what really matters, ultimately what really matters, and what is sort of the fleeting flavor of the day that can be observed but shouldn't be paid too much attention to. So David laid it out beautifully and has been for a very long time. The ultimate agenda is to connect our brains with AI and merge. That's the agenda. And there is, as he says, a hard sell, which is the World Economic Forum and all the others who walk around basically saying, this is it. This is the new reality. Just wrap your minds around it. This is what's going to happen. This is inevitable. And then there is, like he says, the soft sell people who are kind of like they're skeptical. They are actually having some ethical discussions, but ultimately they say, well, you know, it's going to happen. It's just a matter of how are we going to allow it to happen, and are we going to regulate it better and whatnot. And ultimately, what we're going to dive into deeper today is the fact that currently there isn't a formidable force or nation on earth that isn't walking down the same path. And people think, oh, China and the US are so different. No, they're not. No, they're not. Not in the most essential sense that they're both nations are walking down the same path of technocracy and AI at the center of it. There's no difference. Yes, one is an openly communist system. It's capitalist communist because they love to make money. And the other one is a pretend open capitalist system, free capitalist system, but it's walking down the same path, just like all other nations in the world. So, but let's stick with this discussion here a little bit, because then and this was the thing, we called for it too. We actually put a video out calling for Elon Musk to join David Icke in Infowars, on Infowars with Alex Jones, to have a discussion, because we believe that we should be adults and we should openly talk about things and we should say where we stand. And so then this guy called Adrian Ditman joins the discussion. Now listen carefully.
Who's up next here, Chase?
Let's go with Adrian Ditman. Adrian, go ahead and unmute yourself and say what you have to say.
Yeah, I think it's really interesting that David Icke, complains of, I don't know, being connected to the hive mind, even though
it took me like 3 seconds to recognize the voice. Probably you the same, right?
he already is. I mean, you're right now speaking to thousands of people simultaneously, which is a selective hive mind via a piece of tech. It's just not integrated into your brain. That's the only difference. Yeah, you're already connected to all of this. You think that everything is different, or that we don't have this smart dust, so to speak. You don't need smart dust when you have a device that is capable of all the things that you've mentioned, and you are already connected to the hive mind. What the hell are you communicating on right now? Who are you communicating with? All the people, their perceptions shared through a medium of speech. Like, there is structurally no difference between having a bunch of nanobots running through your bloodstream accomplishing the same thing when you're holding a device that is connected to this thing that is a field of information that is the internet. There's nothing wrong about it. There's nothing strange about it. It's just the way things are. Integrating stuff like this into our cells biologically just removes the latency and decreases the latency for information transmission.
By the way, I think this is Elon Musk.
There's literally no difference.
Is this Elon Musk?
It's really not. No, it's really not. I'm just weird. Don't worry about it. If AI, for instance, gets connected to us, I don't think it's going to be the end of us. It's just going to help us evolve faster and better. You see, you can't beat this thing. It's better than us. It is much better than us. It is.
Listen to him. Okay, so naturally you can fake anything. Of course you can. Let's just assume speech patterns and certain things. Let's just assume this is Elon. You can't beat this thing. It's better than us. Let's keep on listening. It's pretty crazy.
Is not just better than us, it is all of us put together in one thing, simplified, without the biological constraints that every other human brain has. It is actually quite a beautiful technology, but it is also risky. And I think the risk factor is something that should be spoken of, but in a realistic sense, to the point that we don't stop its development.
Yeah, that is the soft sell. Now, this guy, this Adrian Ditman guy, sounds just like Elon, talks a lot like Elon, comparable to previous things he said, just more compressed. But I think the bottom line here is this thing is better than us. He says AI is better than us. It's all of us, the hive mind, right? And so at some point in this bizarre sci-fi reality that we're currently in, whether CERN and their experiments or something else propelled us into this Twilight Zone weird thing that we're in. But we have to at some point acknowledge that we are here all these years and decades that we talked about things that we saw them coming, but they were always behind a wall. They were always hidden in a secret room. You didn't see them openly. They're openly here. And this is the moment. This is like they march on the battlefield, the Elon Musks and the Klaus Schwabs and everyone else, and the Gateses and the people you don't know by name. They march on a battlefield and they say, okay, we're here now. We prepared this battlefield. We did everything we could. Now we are here, and this is what's going to happen. And so many people are just now going, wait a minute, I heard about this. Somebody was talking about this. This David Icke guy was talking about it, and this Alex Jones guy was talking about it. And so G. Edward Griffin and so many others over the years and decades were talking about it. Wait a minute, is this that? But wait a minute, isn't Elon a good guy because he bought Twitter? David Icke pointed out something beautiful, by the way, in this discussion that I will show you more of. He said, Twitter or X is actually owned by the X Holding Corporation, which has 95 members, of whom are redacted. So nobody knows who the 95 people are who are actually owning X. And he says, Elon Musk is a frontman. Now, here's the thing, folks. Perhaps we can use some of our life experience and logic to figure certain things out. The supposedly richest man in the world, we all know there's families that are much richer than Elon Musk, but in the public arena, the supposedly richest man in the world is the rebel that goes against the system. Give me a break. That's just, there's no way this makes any sense. And try to be critical of China on X, or try to get Elon to talk about China in a critical way. It isn't happening. Why? Maybe because of the 95 names on the X Holding Corporation. It could be. Who knows? We don't know. We have to connect the dots. Now, I want to show you one more piece of this bizarre conversation and I want to point something out. I lose all respect for someone, if this is not a deep fake, if this indeed was Elon Musk, and I don't think he's come out and denied it, which I would do if this wasn't me, I would make a big deal out of it. He hasn't come out and denied it, that he isn't Adrian Ditman. If this was indeed Elon Musk, what a juvenile and stupid thing to do, to come on like this and have a fake name and not be man enough to just sit there, show your face like Alex Jones, David. I can have a grown-up discussion, an adult discussion with some sort of, normalcy for the people who are watching. Like, okay, I can see three people debating something. They might not see eye to eye, but at least it's a civil discussion. Okay, let me show you this last clip here.
Need to understand what is happening and what they're part of. And then maybe they can make some choices about what how they respond to it. But if you're living in a reality which is not the reality you think you're experiencing, and some other force is manipulating that reality to manipulate your perception, to manipulate you, then that needs exposing. And it's all right talking about AI this, AI that, but AI is designed to take over the human mind and therefore replace it. People like Ray Kurzweil at Google, a so-called futurist, has openly talked about this years ago, that by 2030 this will be happening, and that eventually, once the connection is made, that AI will do more and more of human thinking until human thinking as we know it is basically negligible. And that's the end of humans as we
And
have.
I think
But if I go to David Icke's point, I think it's not that you're afraid of, say, like you're not concerned of the fact that our perceptions themselves are going to be delivered by a piece of tech, but that they are delivered to you in an altered format that somehow benefits whatever centralized entity created that tech.
Okay, so I can't show you the whole interview. We put the link or the whole conversation. We put the link in the description, and feel free to go watch it. Just to break this down as to what was really discussed here. What David Icke is saying is that we're already living in a simulated reality. Okay, and this you might or might not agree with. It doesn't really matter to make that point here. What he's saying is that if we connect our brains to AI, our perception of what we see and how we interpret our reality is going to be fed by AI. And Elon went on and on, more than we showed here, on and on about how it's almost preposterous to suggest that someone would want to manipulate the AI to give you a false perception. Really, hasn't every single medium been used for propaganda and manipulating our perception, starting from mass medium, starting from print to radio to TV to internet and everything in between? Hasn't it been used to the maximum to give us propaganda, to manipulate our sense of reality, and to mind control us into a mass formation psychosis? Excuse me, but isn't this a reality? Aren't we fighting that very fact that this has been going on for such a long time, that we've been brainwashed through mass media? So now this is the last barrier, because this still comes from the outside, and you can turn it off or you can turn it on. You can put the book away. You can turn the TV off. You can turn the radio off. You can cancel your freaking internet connection. But once your brain is connected and hooked up to AI, what are you going to cancel? How do you know which perception comes from you with your senses perceiving reality and which perception is artificially fed to you? You wouldn't know. How could you? And how is it preposterous to suggest that someone would want to manipulate that, when that is the very intention behind connecting AI with the human brain, is to make that happen? The only reason why they really want this to happen is to have ultimate control over the human family. You have to read those documents that are out there to know that this is true, and you have to observe reality with a critical sense of thinking to see it, because there's nothing else. There's no other reason why you would want to push this so hard on the human family. So what Elon Musk is saying, hey, we're going to do this. This is going to happen. All of this is going to play out. And yeah, there could be some concerns that this could be manipulated, but really that's not a reason to stop it. And what we're saying, and a growing group of people is saying that understands what this is really about, is this is going to have to be a hard no. It's not going to be negotiable. Listen, we're already having so many problems with people being infused with nanotechnology against their will and without their knowledge. Think about the last 4 years and what's been unfolding in the world and what people have been given and taken, and the shedding and all of that. We are at this critical point where it's going to have to be a hard no, even if that means leaving civilized society, even if that means living in a completely different way. If you want to remain human, and if we really want to explore what that really means and remember what that really means. And we have to understand that the main argument will be that there are so many problems with our biology, with our genetics, with sickness, with people being disabled and whatnot, and this could solve all those problems. No, this is a false narrative. This is a false dialectic. It isn't that there's so much wrong with us, more than we have been manipulated into being this sick. The food, the water, the air, the education, you name it, everything has been robbed of its natural quality and robbed of its natural properties. So we turn into this sick and disabled society, so you can swoop in and come, I have a solution for you now. We won't have those problems. The thing is, yes, some of those technologies, CRISPR and whatnot, and some of those AI infusions will appear to heal people, but they won't. because they will never have addressed the root cause. The root cause of our sickness is not just environment. The root cause of our sickness is not simply something that you've been passed on in genes. It is multi-generational trauma that's unhealed. That's what causes all these problems. And AI can't heal multi-generational trauma. CRISPR can't heal multi-generational trauma. This is a healing journey that needs to happen on a spiritual, emotional, psychological level. And unless we address this as the human family, it's all just going to turn into a disaster. The discussion here is really, and this is what we've been saying for such a long time, is you have to make a choice. Everyone has to make a choice. Do I want to explore what it really means to be a divine being having a human experience, whatever this experience is? Do I want to explore these abilities that are dormant still within us, that are in our DNA waiting to be rediscovered? Or am I going to plug myself into the hive mind, plug myself into AI, and then that is the end of that journey? It's not, let's try this. It's the end of the journey. It's game over. These are irreversible things, because thinking of implants today or connection as like a little piece of hardware that is like a chip that we kind of in our, very innocently, naively believe it's a piece of hardware that they put in our brain. And if you don't want it anymore, you take it out. No, self-replicating nanotechnology, smart dust. And that's only the things that we know about. So how many things are there that we don't know about? And once this is in your system, it is designed to merge with your system. It is designed to become one with it, so that it isn't that you can detox it. It isn't that you can flush it out. It isn't that you can go and have it surgically removed. Once it happens, it's happened. And I think we are so used to gradually give into these trends. We're so used to, okay, we're going to go along with this, and then we're going to go along with that we've forgotten what a hard no looks like. If you would ask me, should we destroy and basically ban all AI or not, I would be on the pro group. I would be on the pro. Let's get rid of it altogether. I don't care. I don't care if it's going to slow down our processes. Who cares? I don't know if it's going to. There was a time when we perfectly lived without it. So this would be me. Now, as when it comes to my biology, it's a hard no. I don't care what the consequences might be. That needs to happen, my friends. And so this discussion is not something that should just happen between Elon Musk and David Icke and Alex Jones. You need to have these talks around the dinner table. You need to have these talks over coffee. You need to have deep, adult, intellectual, philosophical, and real-life conversations with the people you care about. And they, as many people as you can help at least see what this is about. Then they can make a choice. Like David Icke says, people can make an informed choice. And so this is the point that we're at. Now, last but not least, I will say this. I've never, ever been on Team Elon. I believe Elon uses AI and quantum computing very, very beautifully to manipulate his audience into believing he's part of some white hat group. But I still go by, let's look at someone's actions rather than their words. He's creating a huge grid that, like David Icke says, 5G, 6G, 7G via low orbit satellites. And he is, probably Neuralink is only the PR version of what's really going on behind the scenes. He's for full on digital currency. He's for full on carbon tax. We're full on board with the WEF agenda. And ultimately, for AI integration and a hybridization of biology and technology. So what's there to love? What's there to love about Elon Musk? Oh, cool. So he walked into Twitter and said, let that sink in. Well, and that, do you think, let me ask those people who are so invested in the Q drops and so invested in a narrative around this Q drops. Not that there wasn't a lot of good stuff in there, in a narrative. Don't you think that people have caught on to the fact that they can use it in their own PR way without being any part of it? Don't you think they have found a way to analyze what's going on there and manipulate millions of people who are fully invested in that narrative? Don't you think that they're laughing behind closed doors about the naivete and going, people are just buying this shit up. And all I had to do is feed into my computer, into my AI, all the Q drops and make up a narrative that would work. You can do that using ChatGPT. You can use Grok or all the other AIs out there to do something similar. And you could create a social media post pattern that would make it appear as if you are part of the Q team, or if you're somehow connected to it and you are a white hat. It's not rocket science. You would probably invest a week into getting it optimized, and then you go and do your social media post schedule. And if you do it right, you're going to be perceived by millions of people as part of this movement, part of the white hats. Just think about it. Don't you think this is a possibility? And what are we doing? We're moving the goalpost and the goalpost and the goalpost. We're moving it. It's 2024. And they have a hard deadline with 2030. That's their hard deadline. That's a hard deadline. So we got what, 6 years? And we're moving the goalpost and moving it. It's going to happen. They're going to make it happen. No, nobody's going to make anything happen because they're all marching down the same road. They're all marching down the AI technocracy road. I don't care if they're blue or red or green or right or left or conservative, liberal. I don't care, because they're all going down the same fucking road. And people don't want to see it. I'm not saying that there's only bad people in there, not at all. But they haven't thought about this deep enough. They haven't questioned this deep enough. Unless somebody comes along that's saying, listen, we got to stop the digitization. We got to put it on pause. We got to put it on hold. We have to examine certain things down to the root. I don't trust them. Because who cares if the path to full-on AI control is conservative or liberal? What do I care? You think it makes any difference? It makes no difference whatsoever. Like David Icke says, the end result is the same. And that's what the studying for the better part of 25 years on my part, the studying of this material has showed me that it doesn't matter. You can change the flavor. You can change the color. As long as it's still the same outcome, it doesn't matter. And right now, millions of people have bought the Elon Kool-Aid. And they're saying because it's Elon and because he brought that sink in and because he bought Twitter, they allowed him to buy Twitter. You know, I can control, as majority shareholders, people can control who they're going to sell their company to. They let him buy it. Let's not be fooled. And I want to say one thing too. If you're going to study and listen to voices and researchers and authors and speakers and influencers and podcasters and whatnot, look at their track record. Are they flip-floppers? Are they going just with trends? Or do they have a message? Or do they have facts and truths that they've been putting out there over and over and over again, stand behind them no matter where the wind blows? Because David Icke is one of the few ones that isn't a flip-flopper. He's been very consistent over 30 years. Don't get me wrong, he's pissing off a lot of people, and sometimes he goes on these, like on Alex Jones, he goes on these 30-minute monologues, but actually people should listen because it's actual deep thought. It's something real, and it doesn't mean you have to agree with everything either. You don't have to. But don't take deep work like David Icke's work over 30 years and even compare it to someone like Elon Musk, who is apparently a juvenile, weird guy who pretends to be somebody else to be brave enough to have this discussion. Because why? He was afraid of the media. He was afraid to show his face on Alex Jones and with David Icke because of backlash. And if it wasn't him, and if this was a deep fake, then we know exactly why AI is so freaking dangerous and why it is an existential threat to us. Because this could also have been someone impersonating a world leader making a nuke threat on Alex Jones. This could have been someone impersonating somebody else making a huge threat that would cause all hell to break loose. If we don't really think about what we're dealing with here, this is not a toy. This is not a toy that we're dealing with here. And the world has shifted since AI has been brought into the public arena where so many people can use it in nefarious way. The world has shifted within weeks. Within weeks, the world has shifted. We're on a whole new battlefield, and they're going to play this out for a little longer, and then they're going to put a hard regulation on it, where AI will be extremely regulated, or the access to the internet will be regulated, and how people can use it will be regulated. Of course, not on their part. They will be able to perfectly use AI to propagandize you and myself and everyone else 24/7, but they will limit your access because we will have seen the dangers. So will we do the adult thing? Will we self-regulate? Will we actually go and say, listen, this is so dangerous. We're so far into the rabbit hole here. We need to put a hard stop to it. The greatest spiritual leap we will ever make is once we realize that just because we're able to do something doesn't mean we have to do it. This will be the greatest spiritual leap. It hasn't happened yet. So far, humans have not been able to resist temptation. Whenever they made a new discovery, whenever they made a new invention or whatever, they couldn't resist the temptation to use it, even if it was very detrimental to the human family. It's just this is one of those things, just like that. AI and all of its implications. If we were a true spiritually evolved being, we would say, stop. Yes, we can. Yes, we have it, but we shouldn't. There are spiritual, moral, ethical, and so many reasons why we shouldn't do it. This would be spiritual evolution. This would be a quantum leap in spirit. Just because you're able to do something doesn't mean you should do it. And when we cross that threshold, we will have really remembered who we are. And the last piece here is we don't need it. We're so much more powerful than AI. This is where I will completely contradict Elon Musk. No, it's never been better than us. It will never be better than us. It pulls people in with its computing power and with its calculating power and how it can access multiple pieces of information all at once. Well, guess what? The people who have had near-death experiences, who were in the other realm, what are they reporting over and over again? I was able to see everything all at once. I was able to be connected to everything all at once. I was here and there and everywhere, and I could access information. I could see everything all at once. So that part went out of the body, went into whatever realm that was in, and it came back into this realm. So that part is still here. So if we can learn while we're in our bodies to do that, become that again, we will see how much more powerful we are than AI could ever be. And guess what? If you pull the plug, then AI doesn't work anyways. But if that doesn't apply to us, right? We will still function. And so we have to remember who we really are, what we're really capable of, and embody that on all levels. That is the solution. And that's the only solution. How we propel ourselves into a new age, not the new age religious or spiritual movement, into a whole new era where we actually transition back into our original design, into our original prime reality. All right, my friends, thank you so much for tuning in. You can watch the full Infowars show, bizarre show, by the way. Link is in the description. Also, FLFE, the wonderful helper in these times that creates high consciousness fields. Link is in the description. Go out into the woods. I love that. I go and walk and I think, and I think and I think and I think, because I think we have to do that. We have to reconnect with something higher and deeper and heal our thoughts. And when I listen to someone like Elon, and Christina and I have listened to him, it's just, there's no spirit there. To me, that man is already AI. It's already detached from everything that's spiritual, that's human, that's emotional. It's cold. It's mechanical. It's a dire warning of what the very, very near future might look like if we don't make a difference. And we're the ones who have been waiting for. Much love, many blessings. Please share this. Please let other people see this. And we'll be back with you again very, very soon.